the speech that I did for International Speech Contest was called The Good Quit. One of the things that got me to go to University of Texas was a lecture at Honors Colloquium when I was invited there called Life and Death in the Technological Age, and the moral and ethical challenges that it creates of our ability to extend life, at least existence is probably the better term, of extend one's existence in this mortal plane. Whether or not we are mentally capable and present for it, whether we have our facilities, whether we are still capable of doing the thing we call life, and find meaning and value in, that's another discussion, certainly. And so I had already watched my grandfather as the fourth person in my family who struggled and eventually succumbed to Alzheimer's, dementia, and other comorbidities along with it. And so I had already seen what happens when the body is sticking around in a healthier condition longer than the mind is. And then a few years later, my grandmother's health begins to fail, and hers starts with her is leading edge, shall we say, of the concerns is heart problems, and she's already lost her husband of decades. You know that they were married very early on and had spent 50, 60 years together, I think, at that time, and so. She did not want a pacemaker when the doctors offered it and pushed back pretty firmly on it. And multiple members of my family, with the best intentions, pushed her and convinced her that this was the thing to do. That it was, that they were concerned about her falling because of blood pressure loss when your heart, and all these things that had been happening, and concerned that you weren't just going to die, that it was going to be a whole lot of pain and anguish in the process of that. And that was well and good, and that was in place for about 3-4 months before heart was not doing as well enough, and it come June of 2015, we knew things were getting serious, and most likely she was not going to make it. We were getting closer and closer to hospice care levels. And then the 15th comes along, where her heart is actually failing, and when that happens, the pacemaker is supposed to be disabled, because what it does when it detects the heart isn't functioning properly, it cranks up the juice, effectively similar to the clear paddles. It's a very similar mechanism going on there of, we're going to try to get your heart back on this, and so the family is gathered around her bed, as she's slipping away, and you see her jolt back. Her eyes pop back open, effectively, in like you've got electrocuted. And the problem is that they can't get it turned off in a timely manner, and so she goes through this cycle over and over and over again of slipping away, heart slowing and coming almost to a stop, and the pacemaker kicks in and jolts you and drags you back up, and it's that just sadistic almost level, like medical technology becomes sadistic to, no, you're living, damn it.
What was the family doing?
Or not.
What was the family doing at the time?
Freaking out. And the first couple of times you think it's just a fluke. You're trying to be respectful and not lose your proverbial shiznit here.
Right.
Right in the moment.
I mean, this is a person's transition. This is a very holy time. This is a time of peace, a time of let's gracefully exit.
Let's let go of this, and it's not happening that way. And um, you know, my, everybody's like in this emotional, in this state, you have fight, flight, or freeze. And so
Yes.
freeze is where, of course, everybody goes first. It is WTF, this isn't supposed to work this way. And then it's scream and yell.
And she's cycling through this as
and scream and yell. And we're trying to, process all this. So somewhere around the fourth time of this, my dad pipes up and is like, what is going on? Grabs the doctor. He's like, what is going on? And he's like, so they run and try to get the cardiologist and find people who are part of that, install here. And you've got phone calls and everybody's, jumping into action, trying to figure out how to turn this stupid thing off. And it takes several more minutes.
As she continues to cycle
through this. I lost count somewhere around 11 or 12 of times through this. That and then finally it was over.
Was there a code? How were, when you told this story, I had this horrible idea, this horrible envisionment of somebody having to call goddamn tech support to say, what's the code? What's the code to stop this from happening again?
Exactly. This is one of those things that, yes, this is the code that, effectively, what's the serial number to go disable, and that's where we ended up. Because they don't want understandably, you don't want that to be an easy thing to access, right?
No.
You want security controls. You don't want some random person being able to shut this thing off.
Right.
An
accidental phone call. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, this is the challenge when you implant a device in the human body with the explicit intention of, we're going to keep this heart running. You told me to keep this heart running, and I'm going to do every damn thing I can. That is, I have my physical capabilities. I, as a device, have been told to do the thing. I will do the thing. That, yeah.
Oh my God! How did the family when you finally got it to stop happening?
You're just at a point of, you're just glad it's over. First of all, is the first thing. You're just grateful it's over. Is the first reaction I have. Like, finally, we're done. Are we? And there's part of you that likes questions like, are we really done? There's a lag.
Is it going to be
there's
Dracula?
A weird lag.
The Dracula. Is it going to happen again?
Yes. And so,
bless her heart.
That you end up having this lag there of very awkward lag, and my mom's of course crying on this. She's the first crier of the group generally, and so I'm just holding my mom at that point, and trying to be the good son, and trying to hold things together. I'm still not processing, I guess, is the best way to describe it. It's like, I ain't got time for emotion. I pull that typical guy thing of shove the emotion down the hole. We ain't got time for that. We'll feel later. that clearly kicked in at that point of, I just got to help what I can. But that feeling of powerlessness is awful.
Yeah.
That feeling of powerlessness of there's no plug for me to unplug. There's nothing. I can't reach into her chest and rip the damn thing out. That it's that sense of powerlessness that really hit me during it. Was, I have no idea how, of how I can make this stop. And that was the most jacked up part for me, because I'm a fix-it. That's
Oh yeah.
having been in tech support for decades already at that point. And the way just I'm geared is, problem, fix, and I'm racking my brain, and there's no fix instantly. There's no fix at the level of criticality that we've got here, and it emphasized to me the importance of being willing to let go.